Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I have finally joined the dark side. And by joining dark side, I mean I have finally switched to the Necromancer class. In my channel, you might have noticed that I have playlists for different types of classes, but it is missing two class, and that is Wizard and Necromancer. Necromancer was long overdue, so I thought let's finally switch to Necromancer and deep dive into this particular class. And what better way to start a series by checking out what other people are playing, what is the meta build, which build is the most popular in the game. And for Necromancer, it's quite crazy the build that is in the meta, because this build is good for farming, it is good for terror rifts, it is good for dungeon. And funny enough, this build started as a PvP build, but later people found out that this build is very good for PvE, farming, dungeons and everything. This build is extremely easy to use, and it is highly effective, and it has a lot of mobility and damage both at the same time. So before we start with this build, I like to say I'll be making more Necromancer's build very soon. So give it a like, give it a subscribe if you like the contents of the channel. And now let's get into the video. So this is a corpse land build for Necromancer, and it is pretty much straightforward. You generate corpses and then you use corpse lands. But the good thing is that this corpse lands only has a cooldown of 1 second, so it is highly spammable. And to make corpse lands work, basically what you need is a lot of corpse, and from those corpses lances will come out and target enemies. That's why to use this build there is only 2 steps: generate corpse, use corpse lance. To generate corpse we are using dark curse, and to dark curse, the one which generates corpses is the fulsome feeding. Basically this creates a miasma that follows you and it damages enemy generating corpses. This basically looks like this. As you move, it is going to move with you, and you can see it is generating corpses. And when you press corpse lance, you can see these corpses are activated, so it is going to target random enemies nearby. The second essence that makes this build work is the offhand essence, lower creed. Basically this says corpse lance no longer targets enemies and instead summons more lances from each corpse that seek out random enemies. Lances are going to target random enemies nearby, so you do not have to target anything. You just have to press that button and everything is going to be cleared from the screen. So to illustrate, I'm going to use this, and you can see these lances are coming out from this corpses. Now I'm going to press the corpse lance, and you can see these lances are targeting different enemies. And the best part is the damage is huge, because there are so many corpses. The more corpses you have, the more damage. Like this, see, you can see the elite mobs are also destroyed in one button, in one click. Hence you can say that this build is extremely efficient in farming. It has a lot of damage, so it is good for terror rift farming as well, even for different types of oblivion pillar, verge and everything. If you wanted just one build which works in every mode, this is the build to go for. And it requires just the 2 essences which I showed right now. However, to make this build fully functional, there are more essences. For example, this shoulder piece, which is basically going to increase the duration of dark curse, and this armor piece. I'm using this armor piece. People use different type of armor piece, but this one gives me more critical hit chance. Now since I'm using this particular armor piece, I'm not using 4 pieces of banquet which buffs the critical hit chance, because I'm getting it from this armor piece. And now I can use other set items to buff my damage, right? I'll go to set items in a bit. For the helmet, we are using this particular helmet which basically decays the enemies for 3 seconds. Basically this is an additional damage which we get from corpse lance. And for the main hand, I'm using the wraith form essences to basically, this is just to reduce the cooldown of wraith form, because wraith form is our movement speed, the travel speed. This one is going to help us move quickly from dungeons and in farming. This build is also good for spot farming as well, because there will be a lot of corpses around you, and just by clicking one button everything is going to be dead. So now let's check out the variations that you can do to fit this build in different scenarios. Now for PvP, the set items I'm using is 4 pieces of Vithus. I'll be using 4 pieces of Vithus and 4 pieces of Mount Banks. I think Mount Bank is very good for PvP. This is going to help you in survival. 4 pieces of Vithus, because the corpse lances are going to trigger the Vithus buff, the 4-piece buff, and your attack speed is going to be more. So damage plus survivability. But in PvE, you do not need so much survivability. Hence, you can go for more damage like I am doing right now. I'm using 2 pieces of Banquet and 2 pieces of Grace. You can use 4 pieces of Banquet as well to buff your critical hit chance, or your 4 pieces of Grace as well. For Paragon, obviously for PvP, I prefer, Gladiator. You can use Brawler if you want. And for dungeon farming, I go to Slinger, and for open world farming, I go to Vanquisher. Basically different type of different modes, different Paragon level. So this is the Paragon tree. This is the only thing that changes. The rest of the build remains the same. For PvP, this particular skill, the borrowed time is very good. Again, this is for survival, because since we do not have a lot of CC in this particular build, having extra survival is very important, because if you have longer survivability, your damage can actually result in killing the enemy, right? So that's why high survivability is important in this build for PvP, but for PvE you can replace it with any other skill which does damage. So that is the meta build for Necromancer right now in the game, and it works really well for all the game modes. I will be making other builds in the future. I did not say that these are the best builds for dungeon farming or farming for dungeon or farming, because there are other viable builds as well, which I'll be making videos on very soon. But I think for a one build which works for everything, this is amazing. So now before I end the video, there are some other news that I want to say. Now the game now has the gold runes as well. This is the Ati rune, right? This rune has 4 attributes. So now you are free to craft gold runes or buy it from the market and basically increase your stats. If you want to know how to craft this, I have crafted some blue runes, which I'll link in the top right. You can check that video. The same process is going to be followed for gold runes. I think in the video I've also shared how we can craft this ATI rune, so you can feel free to go and check that. Now I do live stream Diablo Immortal sometimes I play PvP, sometimes I do PvE streams on my Twitch account. I'll be linking that in the description below. But this week I'm going to try out Last Epoch. Cycle 2 is coming out for Last Epoch on 9th of July, and I'm pretty excited for that game. I have played it before when the game launched and I really loved it, and now they have made some great changes. So I'll be checking out that as well. So if you're interested, you can follow me on Twitch as well. So that's all for this video. I hope you like the content. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.